All right, so Mechee motherfucking X. Now, before we do a proper introduction, right? Because I want you to introduce yourself because I feel like, your brand is growing. It's really strong. I see you arguing with a lot of the old goats, the has-been goats. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I really want to talk about all of that. We're talking about Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Boyce Watkins. You know what I'm saying? Umar Johnson, Zaza Ali, everybody. You don't shut the internet the down.
I don't know if that was my intention, but I seem to have. Yeah.
No, first of all, tell us, for the viewers that don't know, this is UNWINEWITHTASHAK, so just in case, I'm sure a lot of viewers do know you, but just in case they don't, give us some background on who you are and what got you into being a voice for our people.
Okay.
Yeah.
My experiences,
okay.
I would tell you. I think that for a lot of us, I was asleep, wasn't aware of everything that was going on. I had my brother murdered in prison. I didn't have him murdered, but he was murdered in prison by the guards, and they called it suicide.
Oh, wow.
Over 20 years ago. And that kind of upset me and probably started a spark. I went to school for criminal justice to get my degree because I thought I was going to go into the system and maybe make a difference.
Okay.
That never happened. I did get my degree, but I realized being a part of the system wasn't going to help. It was probably Tamir Rice was the last straw for me. I turned off my TV. I was really upset about seeing what happened as far as Michael Brown. I just had enough, and it was like, when are we going to do something? At the same time, my son was going through the school-to-prison pipeline where they used his school record to try him as an adult, to give him far too long of a sentence. And so I learned of the school-to-prison pipeline because I was going through it. At the same time, I was also studying it in school for one of my term papers. And after that happened and my son went to prison, I just kind of fell into a depression.
How old was your son at the time?
16.
What?
Yeah, he just got home a couple days ago.
Prison?
After 10 years. Mm-hmm. Yep. Tried him as an adult. They used his school record suspensions for uniform violations and small things, the school-to-prison pipeline, to say this is why he should be tried as an adult and not stayed as a juvenile. Didn't have any prior criminal record, but they used his school record.
What?
And gave my son 11 years. And it was also very, very.
I'm so sorry about that.
Opening to me. Well, thank you. It's very much a part of my story, my journey. I just went and got him, like I said the other day. He just got out after doing 10 years, so he's home at 26 years old.
Well, welcome home. What's his name?
Jawan.
Welcome home, Jawan. Damn.
Yes.
I just, that right there, that would change you. That would change anybody.
It did. It did. I went from being a mother that played the violin for my kids before they went to bed at night. I was a stay-at-home wife. I cooked, I cleaned, I run businesses on the side. I took care of my home, and I was that mother. And all of a sudden, I put the violin down. I didn't have the cooking and the cleaning in me no more. And I fell into a really deep depression. It was the first time I felt very helpless in life. The only thing I can equate it to is I imagine when you watch the movies back in the day with slavery and you see them take your child and sell them off to another plantation. And it's nothing you could do about it. I couldn't save my son, and he was telling me, Mama, what I'm going to do. Mama, you can help me. And I couldn't do anything. And he was my child, and I had no say. So I fell into a deep depression. There was a time when he was in jail that he went to the hold just because he was waiting to be transferred to another prison. He hadn't done anything. He just wanted to be transferred. And they left him there because it's a check for the body as long as it stays in their facility. So they left him in the hole for a whole year. I remember feeling guilty. I can't go outside. My son don't get to go outside, walk around. I looked at how my closet was probably the size of his cell. And so I felt guilty sleeping on a comfortable bed, going outside. So I kind of locked myself in my room for a while. At that time, my mother was staying with me, so she helped me with my children a whole lot. I wasn't married anymore, got divorced and moved on from that. But in that 2 years I sat in my room, Mechee X was created. So out of my pain, I created that power.
Where did you get the X from, Malcolm?
No. Actually, this is funny because everybody thinks that.
Yes, I'm like, you really going in like how Malcolm would.
I am from Detroit, too, so I could be a Detroit Red.
I watched a lot of his old, I guess, they call them hoteps or whatever. I don't know. But, and, you have that same passion like Malcolm X, and you're not as refined. And I sometimes it makes me scared for you because I'm like, you really go there. You don't mind... just putting it out there for what it is. But when people know why, and I think you explaining the why, it brings it all into context. And I love what you're doing. I'm going to be honest with you. I love what you're doing. Okay. So because there's been a lot of shucking and jiving in our community amongst a lot of these people that you have decided to use your platform to literally call out.
Yeah.
And in turn, they want to attack you for calling out the very bullshit that they've been doing and getting away with for years. And so I just want to say, as a woman surviving in this, because you are going up against a lot of men.
All men.
All men, I just want to take my hat off to you. I ain't got one on right now, but I want to take it off because, that's a strong space to be in because it is male dominated.
It is. It is. And I would say this, that I like a fight. So I guess they got the right one. And when I say I like a good fight is not that I know when people say, oh, the angry black woman, you just always going to fight. No, I am angry. And my anger is justified. And I think that if we're black in this country, we should all be angry. But at the same time, I'm very determined to fight for what I believe in. And see, these men and these people in the community, for me, I'm offended because for somebody who works for the community out of my passion, I take out my own pocket, out my paycheck. I'm not asking for super chats. I'm not asking for cash apps. And nothing's wrong with that. But at the end of the day, because it's my passion, I'm going to do it whether the people help me provide it or not. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what I do. And when they play these games and cripple the community and we see how much you're playing or how much of the money you siphon out of our community, you know better than anybody else when you're just filling your pockets. You're just like the Asians. You're just like everybody else that you talk about. And when you damage the community, it's much like a bad relationship. You put this stain on the people and now they're less trusting. So now all of us that come into this lane of working for our people, we have to go through the scammer test. See, I've never scammed anybody, but I'm a scammer now. And it's because of people like Dr. Watkins, Tariq Nasheed, the folks that play the games, Umar Johnson, who collects all of these funds.
Where's our fucking school?
Thank you. And if you've been watching me, it don't take all that. Like we have a school, Ziax Institute. It's an all-black school, homeschool. We have locations in Brooklyn. We're looking for one here in Atlanta. We have over 200 children in Ziax, all black school. Your kid got to be black to go there.
See, I didn't even know you had a school.
Well, see, I've partnered with somebody named Q Butter. I met him a couple years ago. He started off with his own children, but he turned it into that. And we have worked together to build that school into what it is today. And so my children have all attended there. I still have one more child there, and he goes to homeschool from Ziax. But your kids can go to school from, all around the place. We're even making connections in Africa to bring children from Gambia. That's where my mother is now, to bring them in so that we can, see what it's like somewhere else with our people. But this has been built off of several people in the community, us coming out of our pockets, him doing the work. And so I know it don't take $1 million. And it bothers me because that's a perfect example that Ziax can't get the money for a bus so they can pick these babies up to bring them to school. But Umar can get over $1 million on a dream, on a vision. Ziax exists. And we talk about these solutions all the time.
Because people like him fucked
Absolutely.
it up. Yeah.
Excuse me. We like dreams. And see, when somebody give you a vision, you're visualizing, oh, this is what it's going to look like, and you stuck on this dream, and so you're trying to invest in a dream. You know what I'm saying? Something that really ain't tangible. And then you see something that's actually there, and I don't know if the people's mind is, well, it's there, he got it here on his own. But I'm going to tell you, for the stuff that already exists, those funds are lacking. They don't support those organizations the same way. And it's not about us asking for money to do the work. The work is being done, and we're going to do it with or without those donations, And so it's stuff like that obsesses me about these men because they put a bad taste in the mouth for the community and then they end up helping the wrong people and not the right people.
Okay. Now, how I discovered you was, of course, people sent me the video that you made on me.
Okay.
On point. Absolutely no, I didn't see no lie anywhere. On point. And that's one of the problems with our people, And then it intrigued me to go through your channel and really look and see your background. And I noticed that you were connected at one point with Dr. Boyce Watkins. Now, I have my thoughts about Dr. Boyce Watkins because I do believe he started off in truth and really wanted to educate our people on finances, on, just having more access as black people to the same things that, whites and other races have access to. And lately, to see his platform transform into what I like to call, it is, I guess since they're not able to sell the finance knowledge no more, I guess the black community get out of the hood package anymore. Now he's resorted to gossiping.
Yeah, I remember being there and what it was about. I won't say we bumped heads.
Okay.
I mean, if you want, we can go back to how I even met Dr.
Please.
So about 3 years ago.
Okay.
It was around the same time you asked me earlier about my ex. So let me say, I'm a spoken word artist. So I do spoken word. And my spoken word is just a lot like my commentary. I have poems called Fuck the Police, all different kinds. Like it's The Plantation, The Angry Black Woman, Wrongs You Can't Right. So my spoken word is still in the same vein of what I do. And so it was a guy who I was opening up for. He's in the Nation. And when he had the guy introduce me, he said, introducer is Mechee X. He was really trying to push me into the Nation. I wasn't going. I don't do any religion. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm not doing it. And so when he gave it to me, it stuck. I did The Angry Black Woman that day, and I got a standing ovation. Normally you do this, they stood up and they clapped and was like, do it again. So after that, I got all kind of invitations to do spoken word and be the main artist for that night. And so it just stuck. They kept calling me Mechee X. So it was truly given as a stage name, and I didn't ask for it. Somebody just gave it to me. So at that time, all of that was going on. I was being a little bit more visible online, and the Bill Cosby situation happened. I made a video, I think it was 7 minutes, 2 days, almost 3 million views, picked up by World Star Hip Hop, called A Racist Woman Going on a Rant. And Dr. Watkins, as well as a whole lot of other people, seen that. And so he had his manager message me, like a lot of people were asking for interviews. I was known as the viral Bill Cosby lady. And so when she asked me if I would like to, be interviewed on a podcast with Dr. Watkins, I was like, sure. I knew who he was, but not that I really knew who he was. I just saw his face, and I learned later why that was. That's part of his marketing. But I used to just see his face come down my feed all the time. So I knew of him, but I wasn't really a follower. I would see his face a lot. So I said, sure, I'll do the interview. So we did the interview in an hour on Facebook. He had 80,000 views when the interview was over. It's more than any video he had placed on his own, and probably the past year he hadn't had a video with that kind of views on Facebook. So he immediately called me back and was like, would you like to come work at Fly Nubian Queen? It's a network that we have for women. You can go on there and give your commentary. It's on Facebook, and, just go live, and we'll pay you to go live. So he pays me, and I say, okay. So I start doing that. I go live on Facebook after a while, and after a couple of months, he asked me would I go to YouTube to build the YouTube page. Now, Fly Nubian Queen's YouTube page had been around for about 3 years. Had 3,000 subscribers in 3 years. So I said, sure, I'll go over there. So I started going over to YouTube, and probably in a matter of months, I took that 3,000 to like 40,000, 50,000. It just grew like crazy. In my mind, I think that we're building this network for Black people. I'm bringing other people on. I'm looking for, women to do commentary on there. Probably a lot of the women you've seen on there or people have seen in the past, I brought them to the platform, even two of the heifers that's still there now. And so we'll get to why they heifers too, but I brought them on there.
That wig irritates me.
Yes. I'm sure it irritates her too. That's why she's always pushing that on her face.
Listen.
But so I brought those people on, and I'm thinking we're building something. Now, for me, I want to build something for our community. I'm like, this is a great place for commentary. I can help build this network. We can bring other Black women in. I've talked to him about building a brother network. I was like, we need to do Fly Nubian Kings. Like, I have all these ideas. I'm the visionary. And he's like, yeah, and he's loving it. So he's like, run with your vision and do what you want to do. I think it's great. I can be me, and I'm helping build something that I think is for the community. This is what I think. All right. So as I get there, I notice how he's telling everybody, we put all this stuff in the emails and in this group, and he's saying, find the topics. You got to have the title, the timing, the topic, right? That's his 3 points he gives us in our little, meetings or whatever. So he would try and push me a lot towards the topics, like you said, that are more, relevant. And I had to tell him several times, I'm going to get views regardless, but I know my lane, and I'm going to stay in my lane. If it doesn't have anything to do with the Black community and I can't use it in a way to teach us something or to bring that aspect to it, I'm not talking about it. That's not what I'm doing. I have a lane, and I'm staying in my lane. So I did that. I built the network. Things are going great. The first red flag that I had of Dr. Watkins, for as much as he talks about, he loves the Black community, he wants to show positive images, he comes to my house shortly after I get on Fly Fly Nubian Queen. We're having a dinner party. It's my daughter's birthday. She's turning 17 years old, and my mother's cooked, and there's a lot of Fly Nubian Queens there that are my friends that I invited. You know, Wig was there, Vicky was there, all the other ones were there. He came, and there were a couple other people. We were having excellent conversation. My friend is a jazz singer. She sung to my daughter before she, cut the cake. There was so much Black excellence going on in that house that night. People had up their phones. They were watching stuff. Everybody leaves. I think we have a great night. I look up the next morning. I'm viral again. Dr. Watkins had taken a video of a 5-minute clip of me and a guy who's a close friend of mine. We bump heads a lot on a certain topic. I'm speaking on my son's situation, which is touchy for me. He brings up Mexicans and something else. And I'm like, look, why are we going over this again, Theo? Me and him get into an argument, and we're arguing, but that's how me and Theo do. And we get hyped for a few minutes, then we let it down, and then we go on about our business. You know how you do it to Thanksgiving dinner. That's how we are. He records that moment. And he puts us up on the internet arguing, and he captioned the video, "When woke folks argue." And it went viral. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I didn't even know you took that moment out of my home and put it on the internet. And two, out of all the Black excellence that went on there that night, why did you decide to use the moment that showed us arguing and fighting? Not the excellent conversation we had, not the talented Black jazz singer that sung to my daughter, not my gray-haired, beautiful mother who was 3 generations of women standing in there, not none of the Fly Nubian Queens and how we were raising up your platform. You took the drama from my household. That was
without your permission.
Yes.
That's some clout chasing.
Yes.
Back and shit.
Yes, that's what he chases is clout.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, I've seen the platform. When I saw him speak on me, I said, now what celebrity guys have got to do with you, Dr. Boyce Watkins? What?
And he still don't get no views. He
None at all.
He leave it up to me. You're never good. Which camera? You leave it up to me.
Any one of them.
You're not going to never get another view. I'm not even done with you.
Listen, now when I saw... Obviously, of course, I've seen a lot of the drama going back and forth. It's really hard to get through a video of him. But you, because you so eloquently put your thoughts together and disseminate them in a very educated way, and you break it down, the video that really, really struck me, and that's when I reached out to you, is when a person who is trying to be somewhat of a prolific figure, someone who, and I'm talking about Dr. Boyce Watkins, who presents himself as someone who can help our community to be financially free or woke, and come to find out, he didn't even have his own business while he's in your home recording. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He has yet to have his own home recorded in the Trademark Center. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let me tell you how that happened. So first of all, Dr. Watkins doesn't pay anybody. I don't know if he's broke. Let me take that back. He pays some people, but he uses Black women. What he thinks is that we are naive, and what it was is he thought that I was naive because social media wasn't really my thing. I was in the streets a lot talking. I was doing my performances. Like I would do a Facebook. I didn't even have Instagram or none of that. Mm-hmm. I might get 500 views. That really wasn't my thing. I'm actually an introvert, right, versus being an extrovert as much. I could be both. That's that Pisces thing. But, I had to get used to being live online. I really don't feel like I like all the world looking at me all the time. I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable, but still, that wasn't my thing. So, I go over there to go do that, but I think he thinks I'm naive to how social media works. So that's why he tried to, use me. All the other women that have come on his platform, so many of them, he had them sign contracts. Now, he didn't do this to me because I was the bread and the butter. I was the one that was bringing in all of the views. So he would pay me. But the women I started to bring on, he said to them, he wanted them to work 4 months trial period and then work 30 more days before they got their first check. So 6 months. You're only paying somebody $30 to $50 for a live, and he wanted them to wait for that, right? So he's receiving super chats, cash apps, and all of this for these people that are on the show, but he's paying these women nothing. I didn't like referring women to the platform, and I'll never forget the conversation we had when I told Dr. Watkins about one of the women there, Jade. I told him, she going through a transition right now. I don't want her to come on here and work for free. I said, you could give her part of my pay, because I didn't need his money to live. Mm-hmm. I already made my own money online, the things that I was doing. So I didn't need the money. It was an extra, and I didn't want to see her work for free, But he refused to pay some of these people, I had a guy. It was funny. I brought a guy on board, Theo, the guy we were arguing with. He actually does a really dope show on the History Channel now. He would have been great, but he didn't want to pay him. And Theo looked at it immediately and said, I don't work for free, and he wouldn't take it. But the women, he always sells to them, well, I have an opportunity. I can build you, when it really builds his platform, and it doesn't really end up building any of them, but he doesn't pay them. He wants them to work for free. He makes money off them. But the biggest thing he steals was what he tried to do to me. He steals your ideas. He steals your domains. He will say, let's partner, and then he takes all of the money and directs it towards himself. So he steals a lot of Black women's ideas. There are several women, I can't think of her name now. Everybody can go look it up. But there was a woman who was his girlfriend, and he actually, I don't know if you remember the lawsuit that was out, because they started the Black Wealth Boot Camp together. It was actually her idea, not his. And he took the funds, and once they were coming in, directed them towards another website to where it looked like they weren't making the funds, and he was keeping it all to himself. She sued him for $10 million before COVID hit. I don't know what happened with that. But he basically cut her out of the idea, right? So he asked me one day on the phone.
That's fucked up. If he did that shit,
there's way more. See, he stole my domain. So we have a conversation on the phone one day, and he's like, so what do you plan on doing, with yourself, Mechee, aside from Fly Nubian Queen? I said, well, I'm a spoken word artist. I'm going to set me up a website. I'm going to focus on the things that I do, my activism and all of that stuff as well. And, get me a website, continue what I'm doing with you, but build kind of my own thing as well. So we have this conversation. A week later, I go to purchase my domain, MecheeX.com, right? It's owned. And I'm like, who owned Mechee X? Because nobody even spells Mechee the way I do, right? They always want to spell it wrong. If you Google Mechee the way I spell it, all them pictures and everything come up on the first 5 pages of Google's all me. Because I'm the only one spell my name that way. So I'm like, who took Mechee.com? So I type it in, and it redirects me to Fly Nubian's Queen website.
The reviews says it all. It's time to unlock the secret to freshness, happiness, and overall great feminine hygiene. It's something we don't like to talk about, but around 80% of women experience feminine odor a few times a week. Here's the solution. Belle's Secret created a formula that washes away odor-causing bacteria, heals your vulva, and balances your pH. Plus, it's all natural. Check out bellsecret.org to start your journey to better feminine hygiene and use the code TASHAK20 to save on your purchase now.
I was placed in this hospital room for high blood pressure complications. I did everything my doctors told me to do, including taking the prescribed medications, which I've been on for years, but I still ended up here. When I got out, I learned about my olive leaf, an all-natural extract that got my hypertension under control. Don't continue to drug yourself into becoming healthier. Go to myoliveleaf.biz to learn more.
If you're like me and suffer from hyperpigmentation and ingrown hair due to excessive shaving and waxing on your cooch, inner thighs, and other intimate areas, I've got something for us. And Skin Souffle has created some amazing organic skincare products just for us. Even if your skin is super sensitive like mine and you always scratching, as Skin Souffle's Intimate Razor, Bump Corrector, and Super Strong Dark Spot Eraser are ideal products to help make your skin perfect all again. Order now at skinsouffle.net and use the promo code TASHAK for 10% off.
I still love him. He's still my brother. That's my mama's child.
Everybody doesn't have the how to go with the who.
You only really have one physical sense, which is touch.
Get back to where we were, we would need to segregate.
Mainly, most people that fall for this are gay.
And you all need to figure some things out.
Like, oh, I see why my mommy did what she did.
Trust me when I say this shit's gonna happen. It's gonna fly.
I believe in a hand up and not a handout.
So you could go through my DMs. There's no women shooting their shot at me in my DMs.
He went and found his mama
and him.
What did he tell you?
I put in Vicky Dillard too, because at the time she was my friend and I brought her over. He bought both our domains and didn't say nothing to neither one of us. So I say to him, Dr. Watkins, and I have the text messages, I put them up, but I can send them to you if you want them later to have. But I say to him, why did you take my domain? And he tells me he did not take my domain and he doesn't know what I'm talking about. So his manager, Michelle Martinez, is a part of this conversation. And she says, let me do some research and see who owns it. She sends me a private text outside of our group and says, that's fucked up. He did take your stuff. And when you're ready, I'll give it back to you. So then she tells Dr. Watkins, you did take her stuff. And he goes, oh, his response to me is, I must have forgotten. I got it because I didn't want people to do to you what they did to me. And as you start getting big, because I know you're going to get big, I didn't want anybody to steal your stuff. So I got it for you, but you can have it back when you want it. Here we are years later. I still don't have it back, right? So That was the last straw for me, but even then, everybody says, Mechee, stop fighting in the community with everybody. So, you know, I didn't put him on full blast, even though Yvette Carnell, Goddess Masterpiece, there was so many people coming forward saying this man took my ideas, had me work, write articles, never paid me $1 while he gallivanting all over the world, spending the money on himself, right? So people are saying this, and then I'm starting to see his true colors. So I tell him I don't want to work with Fly Nubian Queen anymore. You know, I'm going to leave and kind of do my own thing, but we leave in a way that it's not confusion in the community, right? Because I just didn't want to start any of that. People are like, you just always want to fight. Like, I tried calling first, I tried being nice. I left Fly Nubian Queen, and he would steal my content off of my page and put it on his page 5 minutes after I uploaded a video. And I'm like, I'm trying to direct my traffic here. Will you quit doing that? I have those text messages too. Oh, I didn't know. I have to tell David the tech guy to stop doing that. What? When do we even start stealing my videos?
Because he wasn't doing that before, was he?
No. And this was on my channel, not on his, because he makes everybody sign contracts. All the content on Fly Nubian Queen he owns, even if it's you.
So where's the YouTube check directed to?
Him. He gets it all. And he pays nobody. He paid me. I'm going to make that clear. He did pay me because I was the bread and the butter, but he paid nobody else.
So Vicky is pretty much working for free.
No, Vicky gets paid now too, because Vicky is the top person that's over there. But she stays because she's a thief. She steals people ideas too. She's gone into mine and many other people's classes.
For a minute.
I don't know. Do anybody want? Look, I'm trying to be nice. I don't get you. I mean, I don't know. The girl probably needs some of that damn wig, but I mean, the fact that she only weighed like 2 pounds, I don't know how that works out in the bedroom. But
I literally thought her and Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Well, let me tell you what they have in common. They're opportunists and they're thieves, and they will step on anybody's back. Me and Vicky were friends. I brought her to Fly Nubian Queen. She said she didn't care that Dr. Watkins stole her domain because she already had another one, and that's cool if you don't want it. It's just the principle of what he did.
Right.
But Vicky used to have like 2 people watching her every day when she would go live. That's it. And so she liked the opportunity to be there. But then she started sabotaging me too, which is another reason I left. I was suspended from Facebook, and there would be people in the messaging box asking for me to come out and do speaking engagements, and she would tell them that she would let me know and she would never pass on the information to me. So she does backhanded stuff like that. When I left, they started flagging my channel, things like that. Would make up fake accounts, come in and say they hate me and stuff like that. They do that to all the other women that leave too. There's plenty of other women that have stories about Vicky just as well. She comes actually, excuse me, into my business classes and my spiritual classes and other people, and she's stolen our information. Vicky was a Christian. She was a Muslim after that. And I mean, less than a year ago, she was a Muslim, and now she's a spiritual goddess, and she's selling courses on teaching people spirituality. You was just a Muslim, my nigga, like 9 months ago. So she got that from everybody's class. Same thing Dr. Watkins do. They steal people's stuff. So that's why she's cool with staying over there. So she does get paid. She's the bread and butter. There's nobody else over there doing anything now, you know. But he's taking from women. He's taking from people. I guess my last straw with him was after I left him alone and I was doing the Black Agenda tour, him and Vicky were trying to sabotage my tour. Like literally I had David Banner on my tour for a moment, and I told Dr. Watkins, you know, that I was getting ready to do. I wasn't working with him anymore, but he wanted to kind of come on the tour, see if he could do something. And I said, okay, we'll see. So I let him know I had an interview coming up with David Banner on my channel, and Dr. Watkins goes behind my back, and he calls David Banner because he has his personal number. And next thing I know, we're supposed to go live to talk about my tour on Wednesday. I look up, and Dr. Watkins has David Banner on his channel on Tuesday. Then he emails me and he says, oh, I'm sorry, I should have told you I had that interview booked months ago. But then David Banner said when I talked to him on the phone, yeah, you know, he called me up, said, could I do an interview? I stopped and did it with him. And I'm thinking, that's weird because I just paid you 5 G's for a tour. It's for one city and you can't come do an interview with me, but he can just call you up and you just dropped everything for him. You ain't dropped nothing for me. So that's David Banner, and that's another story. But I thought that was shiesty too. When I would go to every city, him and Vicky would call people like in the nation, and we would always get a phone call because my security was the nation, and they would say that they're calling and telling them not to work with me, don't go to the tour, when all I really did was give them a platform to bring their solutions to the community, like the schools in the nation. They have accredited schools. That's what we do with the Black Agenda. We allow the solutions to come to the stage, and the ones that aren't, we bring them to you. We help you create them in your community. And so we were really just giving them a platform. None of them listened to what they said, but every city we were getting calls from Vicky and Dr. Watkins and people behind the scenes saying, no, don't go work with them. And so that's what really made me mad, because now I've left and now you're trying to tear down the real work that I'm doing in the community while you're doing nothing. And for Dr. Watkins to be somebody who knows business, he did not trademark any of his stuff. I would tell you that I've never let go to anger. He has my domain, and I don't need it. I got another domain, but it's just the purpose that he makes it seem like every woman he has a problem with, if anybody watches him, he always talks about our mental state. Well, they're going through a lot. He talked about, all the women he's dealt with or been on his platform.
Yeah, he did that shit about me, talking about there was some pain.
He does that to everybody when he's really the narcissist. He's a narcissist.
Pain. This don't even know me. Talking about, you can see the pain in her eye.
He said that about everybody. He said he said the same thing about me, that I have issues and that I've been through a lot, and he thinks I'm bipolar and just all of this different stuff. He always attributes it to something is wrong with us.
Now, I'm trying to pull his degree.
Yeah, that might be fake too. Well, no, you know what? He did teach at a college, and if you go look up all of the reviews, all of his students say how much they hated his class. That he was boring, he rambled, and he never stayed on point.
Where did he teach at?
What was the university? Don't even give me the line. I don't know. You can look it up wherever he said. But I have had so many people show them them receipts before. People have been talking about Dr. Watkins all over the place, and yes, you will find reviews from his students that says he was a horrible professor.
It's just a waste that, people are even black people are going as far to even get PhDs, something that's kind of, it's probably one of the hardest degrees to attain. And, he would waste it on being a gossiping ass YouTuber.
Oh, but he makes tons of money off of that stuff that he sell everybody. Dr. Watkins makes all kind of money. He's like the white man on the plantation that puts the whip on all these other black people's backs so that he can make money off of them, because he makes no money off his views. His views are doo-doo. He could have 300,000 people on a page and he got 300 views. Nobody wants to see his face. Just a side note for Dr. Watkins, because I know you watching and crying at the same time. You little stupid white probably consoling you. But let me tell you something. Nobody wants to see your face that much. 48 laws of power. Know when to leave. Let your presence be a little bit more scarce. It's respected when they see you. You know what I'm saying? He has watered himself down so much, nobody wants to see Dr. Watkins' face. The only thing he makes money off is the views of other people. He makes no views on his own, on any of his monetized situations. And then he uses what audience he has to get people to also sell and buy those products that he does. And a lot of those products in his business school are not him. Some of those are stolen ideas from other women. So, I've never let this thing go because he don't let it go. And he constantly got something to say about me, or so do that chick with the big old hair, Vicky. So look, I didn't start it, but I will finish it. And when I try to be nice in the beginning, y'all try to sabotage my real work. You continue to mess with people. You continue to do these things. And every time I mention Dr. Watkins, women come in my email and tell me all the time how he stole their literacy book, how they came up with the flashcards, all of these things. I have all the emails. People are constantly telling me stuff he did. When I told him that I owned his company and I bought the trademark over a year ago.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Like, what was his reaction?
Oh, see, so let me say, it would have been poetic justice. So okay. I trademarked Fly Nubian Queen and Your Black World. They were his two biggest platforms. I was on the phone with my guy, and he was like, that does all that stuff for me. And he was like, it was my birthday last year. And I said to myself, we were trademarking my stuff. And I said, did Dr. Watkins trademark any of his stuff? Go see for me. And he said, no, this is not trademark. That's not trademark. That's not trademark. I said, buy it all, right? So we trademarked it. And
so if you own the trademark, you can get your domain back.
I know. That's what I was just told, because I learned my lesson. Mechee X is trademarked. All my stuff is, And that's what I was told, that I can go and get my domain back. Oh,
absolutely.
Now. So, and so I trademark it, and I'm trying to keep it quiet because it takes like a year for it to come through. I don't want him to know because I don't want him to be able to oppose it. And there was a YouTuber running his mouth, again, calling me a scammer because of what everybody else does.
Which YouTuber was this? If you don't want to,
I don't want to say his name. I'm not giving him no clout. No. But he calls everybody. He calls himself calling out all the scammers. So he called himself calling me out. He went and looked up the information, and he said that I was a thief. And look at me trying to buy Dr. Watkins' platform, and he told him that I tried to trademark Fly Nubian Queen. That's how he found out. And I laugh because he didn't know the story of anything that happened to me. So that's why YouTubers that's trying to come to the scene and chase clout, y'all should just shut up when y'all speaking on situations you don't know. We've been here for years. You knew to this. Shut the hell up, right? So he talking about the scammers. He actually helped the scammer get away. So because he found out, they did file for opposition for Fly Nubian Queen, and I'm not going through all that fighting him for, but the bottom line is he still had to come out of pocket. He was sweating and crying. When he found out, I heard from his old accountant. She called me up, actually. And she said, after I came out with that, she said that he was running around telling all of his family and friends and everybody close to him that they should trademark their stuff because I was going on a trademark rampage, and he didn't know whose stuff I was going to trademark next. But he didn't tell Vicky to watch her back because I trademarked her shit, too, because she opened her mouth.
So that trademark is yours?
Well, unless she opposes me for it. She can oppose me for it. But that's the whole point of it. I don't really want it. You're going to pay for every time you open your mouth anymore because I'm tired of y'all. So this is that money game. You're going to just pay for opening your mouth. I don't want your stuff. I paid the fee. That's a very small one to get it. You're going to pay a heftier one for a trademark attorney to file opposition and do all of that. And you're going to be stressing for the next 6 months to a year until it comes out for notice. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just inconveniencing you for opening your mouth. So I did what I did to Tariq Nasheed. So, you know,
what happened with that too? Like, I said, I wake up, I see you and Tariq going back and forth. I'm like, what the hell that happened now?
Well, okay. So
you done called out his wife. What happened?
Well, see, this is what happened. So I did what I did to Dr. Watkins. The Your Black World came through. I let him know that I own it. I laughed. I told him, you better get my name off that channel. If y'all have seen Your Black World, there's no Your Black World. It's black excellence, black scammers, black bullshit. That's what it is.
And listen, I love all my white viewers, okay? It's funny that Tariq Nasheed, as much shit as he talks about the white community, and his mother-in-law is white.
On top of that, but he talk about all of the white supremacy.
But all the white supremacy, okay? Right. But don't even realize when he is being oppressed in his own motherfucking house, okay? Because that money goes back to the white community.
Using that just for men on his hairline instead of letting him break. Because he said that girl gonna leave him. So she gonna take your black dollar and give it to her white family. That divorce.
It's going back there.
Yes. And so, but this is the thing, is that when I took it from him, he was stressing. Vicky decided to say something and say, I'm not responding to the beef. I'm like, but you're making a video responding. I wasn't even talking to you, chick. And I warned her, I think on a Friday, and I said, be quiet before I buy you too. Well, I thought she was going to catch on and go get her stuff come Monday morning. I found out it was still available. So I bought her domain as well. I bought her trademark for On Purpose with Vicky. And so
you're just being petty.
Yes, I'm being petty now. And that's what I'm saying. Out of all these people in this circle, I'm not scared of none of them. And they have beef with everybody, but I've silenced everybody. Tariq had so much to say when he was beefing with Umar. Everybody else want to be so tough. They're all quiet now. I made them be quiet.
Did you take Tariq Nasheed's
I
trademark
did.
as well?
I did. So what happened is...
Now, how is it that you got white roots in your family and you let your business go undone like that?
Well, that's a great question. How is Dr. Watkins such a professor, and how is he a great business person when he has built a brand? Your Black World has been standing for 13 years. That is something you would trademark.
Absolutely.
For as big as Fly Nubian Queen was, that is something you would trademark. That is a brand. It's not a fly-by-night product. It's not some drop shipping. That's a brand. Why, if he's so smart in business, why he didn't do it? And Tariq is so much for the community. He collected all that money for the museum and sold all them FBA flags. Why didn't he trademark it? So
where's the museum?
In his pocket. It's in his bank account.
Where's the museum in the school?
The museum is in a box called Hidden History Series 5, and you can get it in the mail if you pay through PayPal. It's no museum coming, right? So Tariq opened his mouth. See, me and Tariq have had beef from back in the day.
Did you guys ever work together too?
No, I never worked with him. I know a lot of people was giving him my name when he was asking for new people to put in his upcoming documentaries. I actually think that he was watching me because so many people mentioned my name. But when he did what he did in co-oping, which is what white organizations do to black organizations to shift the narrative and put the focus on them when we're trying to make progress, he did the same thing to ADOS, which is trying to get reparations for black people. He said he was with them. He got everybody to be gun-ho about him. And then in the middle, he flipped the script and said they was agents and he didn't trust them. He says that about everybody. And then he turned around and created FBA. And he made flags and he had a conference and he collected all this money and in a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo, and through Hidden Colors, a live one on stage in the middle of COVID and took everybody's attention away from an organization that's really fighting for reparations. That was a co-opting move. He must have learned that from his mother-in-law, because that's what they do to black movements all the time. So I called him out on it. And instead of responding to me and addressing what I said, he went in on my children, my son being in jail, my child who's retarded. He said, my son has autism, from a vaccination.
That's not retarded.
No, this is what he said.
Yeah.
It's not. My son actually can run circles around this man. He's Asperger's. My son is very intelligent. Photographic memory. He's a wonderful child. But this is what he says. Your child is retarded. And it's like, I don't understand how you can't come back and actually address the things I said you did. Instead, you come after my children, my son who is in school, from the prison to school to pipeline. But how do you talk about oppression and white supremacy when my son's situation is a product of that? How do you talk about my child when he got autism from a vaccination when you're talking against that. So when he did that, me and him have had that beef. I haven't said anything about Tariq for forever, but my understanding is when he heard what I did to Dr. Watkins and Vicky, he decided to open his mouth. And I'm like, Lord, you ain't learned from what I did to Vicky? Like, didn't I tell y'all to shut up? So
you went searching.
Yeah. And I found out that FBA, he actually went to file for it and he abandoned it. They asked him for some more information. He never gave the information. He abandoned it. So I picked it up. Hidden History Museum. He's collected over $1 million and he hasn't trademarked that either. Well, he can try and fight me to the punch because I filed for it. And so he is filed for none of those things, which says that he's not even serious about them. They're what we call money grabs. Like if he really was thinking about, he even said FBA was supposed to have annual conferences. He hasn't had one since the first one, and here we are going on the third year. So again, it was not about anything but a money grab. If it was really something he was going to hold and use over time, he would have trademarked it. So now that I did that, he come back again talking crazy. Instead of addressing me, he claims he's going to make Mechee's munchies. He's going to make some snacks that have a pig on the front because he likes to make, fun of my size. So what I simply did is before he got done running his mouth, my boy that watch him, that do all of this, he ran over before his video was done, and I own www.mecheemunchies any way you can spell it, and they all connect to my emergency food supply, which is actually something the community needs. So I got a piece of your new business. You ain't even made it yet, Tariq. Y'all gonna quit messing with me. So this is how Tariq got brought into it all.
Tell them to turn that air down. Keep going.
They are steady running their mouths and have something to say, but I just notice everybody's quiet. And I just want to say that I like a good fight, especially when the fight is about you messing with our people and you doing things against what you say. I don't like hypocrites. When I was a preacher, I'd call the pastor out if you was in the pulpit doing wrong. Like, you swear you up here talking about adultery and you over there with Mr. Deacon wife. Like, shut up and sit down, right? I've always I don't like hypocrisy, right? And so for them to play the games that they play and say that they're about the community, I have all the fight in the world for them, just as much fight as I have for white supremacy and oppression and this racist government. So I don't care that they're black. I feel like they're a weapon in the community that is worse than most because you are disguised, you are camouflaged. Because of your skin color and who you are, we don't even know that you're here to do damage to the community till you have already done the damage because you hide behind your blackness. And so I'm just sick of all these fake hoteps coming up here saying they're doing something for the community and they're not. And so, like I said, I could go and go and go and go. So are they finna wave the white flag? Because I'm not. So for any of them that think I'm scared of them, Tariq done got into it with the best of them, or they think that I'm finna back down from them, I'm not. Tariq sends me some stupid email from an Asian attorney the other day.
Mr. Pro-Black?
Mr. Pro-Black, baby, he's an Asian attorney, but he was just talking about how fair it was for all the Asian hate that was going on. They didn't got no hate, but here you are supporting Asians. The kicker to this is, you're right, because they ain't got no hate from you, Tariq, because you loving on them.
Everybody got reparations but us. We'll go.
So he does that, but I go look at the man, and the man is required, the letter is asking me to do some things, first of all, that don't make any sense because it's not anything that I'm doing. He asked me to immediately not sell any merchandise or use his names on anything. I'm not selling nothing with FBA on it. So he's telling me to cease that. He's asking me to relinquish the stuff to him, and I'm like, I don't own it yet. I just filed the application. Anybody can do that. I can't relinquish an application to you, sir. You sound dumb. And then he tells me to take my application back. I'm like, look, the attorney ain't got no phone number. If you go to Google the picture, his building is blurred out. He got his law degree in 1976. And the crazy thing is, he's not only an Asian attorney, he specializes in immigration. And if you watch Tariq, FBA is all about fighting with black immigrants and saying that immigrants aren't our fight and that we shouldn't care about the immigrants. He spent more time beefing with black immigrants. So it seemed like he only got heat for black immigrants. He ain't got no heat for the other immigrants. So he says immigration is not our fight. But you know who fight it is? Your attorney. Why is that his attorney? So it just shows the hypocrisy in these men. So if Tariq would like to send me something else, you just keep exposing yourself. Baby, send some more. And as soon as he sent it to me, the lawyer told me I got 2 weeks to respond. I responded. It's on my page. Send him that video because I don't have nothing else to say to Mr. Cho. Okay?
All right. Now, Dr. Umar, how did that beef arise?
I won't say that.
I mean, you have, listen, my hat goes off to you because you have literally buried all of their asses. All of them. I was tired. I've been tired. I was tired. And I ain't want to, listen, I didn't want to put that time in because I could have easily laid out just all the scams in the video.
Yes.
But you did that. Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Boyce Watkins, all of these people that are just literally scratching at the doors of black people who want to make it in any way that they can see or find a way to get in. They find a lie to get in, tell it, and sell it.
Black trauma and black pain and black bodies make a lot of money. And there's a lane of those of us that come in, and because of those things, we have a fight.
Okay.
And so it automatically is something we bring to our platform. But then there are those that understand that lane brings a lot of money. So they come in and they pretend to care. They go with the flow. They give you an image of caring, and they don't. And they're really just making their money just like anybody else off black bodies, you know? And so for me, they're the fake hoteppers. Now with Umar, we never really had a beef. I would say out of all of them, he's the only one that was like, as a man, I'm not beefing with you, Mechee. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really come back at me or nothing. My thing that
I don't think he could.
My thing is, you know, but he probably couldn't, but
he probably looked at the resume and was like, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Umar was just that he collected all this money and he did nothing with it. And so my question to Umar was, did you always plan out to start off as a scam in the community, or did you just have a vision that was so big and your arrogance and ego won't allow you to admit that you went about it the wrong way? Because he wanted this major school that cost $55 million to start, but at the end of the day, why didn't you just go in the community if you were really about the community and buy some of these abandoned churches that's on every corner that can house maybe 30 students in it for $100,000.
Or start a homeschool
Start a
program.
bunch of small schools. If we can see you doing the work, then we can keep giving for it to build to something better.
Right.
You didn't want to. You had plenty to do something, and you did nothing. And so at this point, that school ain't never coming. And for somebody who has watched the school be built off way less money, just somebody's passion and money in their pocket, and just a couple more people in the community who actually care and watch it rise to the numbers of any public school, and it's an all-black school with all-black teachers just learning great stuff from everywhere. They teach STEM and everything. Umar's full of shit, and either he's always been out there to scam everybody, or his ego is so big, and no matter what, that he won't humble himself and ask for help or try a different way to get stuff done. He just refuses to say this didn't work.
Well, he wants it done for free. I know. I did see him on the Breakfast Club, and he did mention that he needed heat or the AC to be fixed, and I believe the water, and he wasn't understanding why black people wouldn't lend their services for free. And it's like, but you got money to do that. The building is already bought. You got a little mortgage on the building.
He didn't do the right thing with the money. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Then he can't pay them taxes. They're gonna come back and he done gave all that money to buy this abandoned school. He's not gonna be able to fix it in time. He's not gonna be able to keep up with the taxes, and the taxes gonna come along and snatch the school, and the state gonna take it right back, and he just gave away that money for nothing because he's gonna end up with nothing in the end. That's what I believe is gonna happen, you know. But I don't know. I'm just sick of. I'm sick of everybody playing on our community, talking about what they're going to build and what they're not going to build, and asking for money. You know what I'm saying? I do think that the community has to come forward sometimes and help fund the things that we need. But I really think that before we allow, because I talk to the community a lot about that too, we got to stop going into these relationships with everybody as though they're here to save us without putting them through the test of something. You know, have they built anything out of their pocket? Have they done anything? Or are they always just asking you for money? Have they done anything on their own? Because any true activist or person that is about the black community, we will ask for help if we need funds to get something done. But with or without the people's funds, we gonna still get it done. Most of the real activists come out of their own pockets to make stuff happen because that's our passion and that's what we desire to do. And I'm really just tired of watching all the money be siphoned out of the community for one person to live better and keep selling this dream to their people, but you're not helping nobody else elevate. Dr. Watkins' school is $5,000. He need to be slapped 5,000 times. And that's just me. Don't nobody be like, oh, she was a student and Tasha ain't got nothing to do with that. But he should. Like, $5,000 for your school, man? Where are the success stories?
I haven't seen any.
Look, I got a class I teach people how to make money online. It costs a bottle of Hennessy, the big one, okay? And I got people who in a year have let their employer go. There are a lot of ways that you can make money out there, but what I found from some of my students was they've taken his class because they used to be affiliated, with me and him. They've taken some of these other people's courses, and the funny thing is they spend all that money and they say it don't give them a direct map. I'm like, what you mean? Ain't that what you pay for? Like, this where you go, this what you say, this the things you look out for, this is how you succeed. Like, they don't give you the blueprint, and they're like, no, it usually just leads you to buying some more stuff. So they're not even giving the people what they need. For these ridiculous prices. Nobody's walking away with a bunch of knowledge and actually turning their businesses into something. And I'm tired of people always selling this scheme of becoming millionaires. Like he got millionaires of tomorrow. Shut up, Dr. Watkins. What kind of millionaire are you? You don't even pay your employees. I'm still waiting on my dang tax paper to say how much you paid me from 3 years ago.
Now, I want to switch it up here for a second because, you are extremely intelligent when it comes to a lot of the social issues that blacks, that we suffer from. And I didn't mean to separate myself from that. I'm just trying to, build the picture or whatever. But Black Lives Matter. Now, I see your platform, and I know that you're growing. You have an immaculate voice. It's very strong. You speak a lot of truth. All truth, not a lot, but all truth. And I see that, you're above like the Umar Johnsons and the Tariq Nasheeds and the Boyce Watkins. Like, you really could penetrate out here. Have you tried, I guess, doing what you're doing, but on a bigger scale as far as like, all the things that Black Lives Matter has been accused of lately? Misappropriating the funds, buying homes. Now, I didn't really see anything wrong with them buying a house for the members, the chapter members to meet in because, a lot of these organizations, especially white organizations, even Asian-owned organizations, have meeting places where they go and they either lease or buy nice places to hold, fundraisers and meetings and things like that. Have you ever tried to step into that field? Because I see your channel, but I haven't really seen a lot on that particular subject.
It's hard for me to do that. And the reason why I say that is because, there's a difference in being grassroots and being on a bigger scale. Black Lives Matter is actually not for the people. And so I did a lot of work before people have seen me online. I've been in the streets. Like, I have a history. This is what I need them to look at other people for. Y'all just, they have a YouTube moment, they blow up, and y'all like, they the leader. What? What? Stop. But I've been out in these streets, and I actually work with Black Lives Matter. And what I found in a lot of organizations, when I was in Colorado, what I found is that a lot of black organizations are actually white organizations wearing blackface. So what that means is that so many of them are funded from behind the scenes from white people and non-black people, which actually controls their wording and their mission statement. So if you go to any of these organizations, they are not allowed to say black. They have to say people of color. And even though Black Lives Matter says Black Lives Matter, when you go and read their statement, their mission statement, it does not talk about being there just for black people. And so
anybody of a minority.
Yeah, they talk about minorities, but even more importantly, Black Lives Matter specifically is an organization that was created off the backs of heterosexual black men's deaths. And if you go and read the mission statement, Black Lives Matter says they're there for transgender black people. They're there for the LGBTQ community. So what they did was, I think that's crazy to me because although LGBTQ is a part of the black community, that's not the representation of the black community. Like, why are we not just protected as a whole? Why are you not fighting for us all?
I never read their mission statement.
Go read their mission statement.
I need to look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody watching, go read their mission statement. It talks about the lives of all kind of black people and transgenders. They push that a whole lot more than they push anything else. If you go to their page, they tell you about all the transgender deaths, and that's fine. But I personally used to go to Black Lives Matter meetings, and I remember the third one I went to. It was in Colorado. I've been to them in several cities, and I walked walked out with me and a bunch of men because they kept using this word called they would tell the black men, don't get speechified. Don't talk too long on the microphone. We hold this space for transgender and women. So they would let the women get on the mic and the transgender. And I remember being there after a lot of this stuff had happened, and black men were upset and they wanted to speak and they wanted their voices to be heard. And we would go to this meeting and it would be brothers, gang members lined up. And I'm like, they really here like wanting to do something. Like I thought that was a beautiful thing. They were upset, they were angry, and they wanted to know how to use their anger. How should we direct this in doing something different? And every time those black men tried to stand up and speak, they were told to sit down and be quiet. And I had to stand up and tell them I thought this was ridiculous. And you done built this on the back of these black men's lives, and they're the ones at risk according to what we see and what you're talking about. And they're not allowed to have a voice, man. F y'all, and your mama and your daddy and your grandma and some of y'all. And I got up and left, and all the brothers came with me. That's the last time I ever attended anything with Black Lives Matter. But I found that for me, it's hard for me because I'm in community meetings, when I'm in these organizations and all the people that want to fund and want to help push you to that platform. There's not a big organization you see out there today that's not funded by non-black money. All that non-black money, you have to bend. You have to give into requirements. And I'm not bending. I was the chick in the room that would be like, we're planning. Why is that Mexican here? Why is that white lady here? We're talking about black issues, and not only are they here, she really just said something about how we feel. Like, it's one thing when we need you, we'll call you, but to be at the dinner table and then to tell us what's being served, that's a different thing. Why does she even have an opinion on how black people feel about trauma on a plantation? Or why does the community seem to be so homophobic? Like, we have these topics that go back to our pain, and we're discussing how we feel, and then you get these other people who claim they're allies, and they're allies until you say something they don't agree with. Now they got so many opinions. I was always the one to be like, why are you even here, white lady? And I'm just being honest. So I'm very vocal in that manner. So a lot of people are scared of me, even the other black people. They're like, she's too radical, she's too much. She don't hold her tongue. She gonna fuck up our money. We got to get her out of here. So they stopped inviting me to stuff. They removed me from inviting me to conferences and stuff. And so for me, I think with my rawness, the only way that I'm ever going to get to that point is to have the real community stand behind me and back me and push me to that level, because I'm too radical for what they call nice.
But are you
organizing?
Do you consider yourself radical? I mean, I can see organizations saying that you would probably need to be tamed.
Yeah, and I'm not taming myself.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. That's the...
Well, I will tell you this. I won't say... People use the word radical. I mean, I might receive that. I say what everybody's thinking, but you're not supposed to say. So, like, if you ask me my solution for us to get free, there's one.
What's that?
You can build all you want, but we've already seen they're going to come tear that down. The root of racism is your government. That's your white supremacy. Every system is rooted in racism from the time it was built in this country. This is why things work the way they work. The reason that white officers don't go to jail for shooting black people, or black officers do go to jail for shooting other people, right? But the white cops don't. That's the system. That's the government.
The sheriff,
right.
Yeah.
When you go back to the school system, Detroit Public Schools said that the parents sued the school board because they said that they were giving kids high school diplomas graduating and they were illiterate. This is true. Do you know the school board said they had no obligation to make sure your children can read? The system automatically gives our children that type of schooling in the inner cities, where all of the lead is pumped into these buildings. When you talk about the criminal justice system, when you talk about even the plantation, which is the new prison, $1 million contracts to make inmates work for free. The 13th Amendment says that slavery is legal for punishment of crime. These brothers can't even go back and order anything on commissary, but they have worked and make millions of dollars. Some of these prisons have whole factories on the side of them because they're building Walmart, car parts, furniture, Starbucks, all kind of stuff, right? And so that is the today plantation. So if you really look at the systems, your government is the racism. There is no, we gonna build this away and massa leave us alone. You have to overthrow your government. That's called a revolution.
So what is your plan? Because I do see a lot of you going back and forth, really calling out and exposing. I would say they the little fish. Mm-hmm. You can really get on some big fish's ass out here because you do have, the intelligence to do it. You know what the fuck you're doing. And so I want to see, looking at your website, and I'm not trying to tell you how to I guess, run your business. But when I see a woman with your type of passion, and I see the bigger picture, what is your end game with this?
I would like to, first and foremost, on the smallest scale, I would like to see our people, one, be empowered. I think the first thing that I want to leave with people, that I hope that I do every day, is I want to inspire the regular Black person. Like, I got a felony, right? I've slept in my car. I have been on welfare. I'm a regular Black person. I'm just a chick from the west side of Detroit. But I believe that there's not anything that I can't do if I put my mind to it. So first, I would like our people to get out of the mentality of, in the places we come from, believing that you can't rise up above where you are. I first need people to find the empowerment within themselves. So I hope I inspire every day when I make mistakes, when I'm acting crazy sometimes, when I'm not acting crazy, when I'm being transparent. I hope that people can see themselves in me, that I'm a person just like them. So first and foremost, I want our people to rise up in that feeling better about who they are, because then that'll trickulates into you being healed, making sure your family is better. And when you can get your family in order in your house, then you can go out to your community and do something, because not one of us can do this all by ourselves. My second goal would be that we do build some things that we have something to fight for, right? We're collecting all this money for stupid stuff when there's schools that need to be built. Like even Tariq Nasheed, they gave him over $1 million for a museum. $1 million would have bought us a nice little building in a community somewhere where we could have Black doctors and nurses come and volunteer their time if we had the building, because we know that in the medical field, Black women are dying in child labor. They're not caring about their children. They're forcing vaccines on these kids. And if they don't want them, they're calling Child Protective Services to take your baby right after they're born because you refusing vaccinations. Like, that's not your right. Black women's, their issues are not taken seriously. White women contract cancer at a much higher rate than Black women, but Black women have a higher fatality rate. And that is because we are treated like dogs in the health system, and that has always been the case since how we were seen. And they quoted that we were like dogs in slavery. We have a higher tolerance for pain, so they still take our pain at a less, they take it with a grain of salt. We could do something like that, and that would change things in our communities. We could build a lot, but we're not putting our money into these things. So I would like to see us come together and build some things. But ultimately, my end game is this. I don't want to die and leave this country the way it is to my kids to have to fight this fight. So I would like to see Black people get up and start a revolution. I'm not mad at the white people who went to the Capitol. See, they understand, as citizens in this country, they have rights, and if you infringe on their rights, they willing to go all out for it. Now, some of them was crying after the police came and arrested them, but it's time that we fight back. I don't think how people think we're going to win this in any other way. And see, this is the radical thing about me. Black people are not scared to kill, nor to die, nor to go to prison. We do it all day when it comes to another Black person. But when it comes to the cops who are murdering us, when it comes to the government and the system that is oppressing us, we're scared. The consequence will be death, or it will be imprisonment. And we're willing to do that to fight and kill one another, but we're not willing to do that for our freedom. Freedom is not free. It's going to cost us something, and it may cost a lot of us everything. And all I'm saying is, for how many people that are willing to die for their children in another situation, you'll jump in front of a car and you'll die for your kids. Well, are you going to stand up and die and fight and build something new for your kids, or are you going to leave that fight to them?
If you're like me and suffer from hyperpigmentation and ingrown hair due to excessive shaving and waxing on your cooch, inner thighs, and other intimate areas, I've got something for us. And Skin Soufflé has created some amazing organic skincare products just for us. Even if your skin is super sensitive like mine and you always scratching, as Skin Soufflé's Intimate Razor, Bump Corrector, and Super Strong Dark Spot Eraser are ideal products to help make your skin perfect all again. Order now at skinsouffle.net and use the promo code TASHAK for 10% off.
I was placed in this hospital room for high blood pressure complications. I did everything my doctors told me to do, including taking the prescribed medications, which I've been on for years, but I still ended up here. When I got out, I learned about my olive leaf, an all-natural extract that got my hypertension under control. Don't continue to drug yourself into becoming healthier. Go to myoliveleaf.biz to learn more.
The reviews says it all. It's time to unlock the secret to freshness, happiness, and overall great feminine hygiene. It's something we don't like to talk about, but around 80% of women experience feminine odor a few times a week. Here's the solution. Belle's Secret created a formula that washes away odor-causing bacteria, heals your vulva, and balances your pH. Plus, it's all natural. Check out bellsecret.org to start your journey to better feminine hygiene and use the code TASHAK20 to save on your purchase now.
I still love him. He's still my brother. That's my mama's child.
Everybody doesn't have the how to go with the who.
You only really have one physical sense, which is touch.
Get back to where we were, we would need to segregate.
Mainly, most people that fall for this are gay.
And you all need to figure some things out.
Be like, oh, I see why my mommy did what she did.
Trust me when I say this shit's gonna happen. It's gonna fly.
I believe in a hand up and not a handout.
You could go through my DMs. There's no women shooting their shot at me in my DMs.
He went and found his mother.
And you.
So what I'm saying is, I think this country needs to be towed the hell down. Go look up what a revolution is. Mm-hmm. There's never been a such thing as a bloodless revolution. Isn't that what Malcolm X said? There is no such thing as a nice revolution, a peaceful revolution. A revolution is the only answer. See, a revolution is the overthrowing of your government. And your government is your racism. Until the fabric of how this government is run is changed, there will be no change in this country. And we will have a semblance of freedom, but we are never going to truly be free. I mean, if I had time, it takes time, so I ain't going to do it here today, but I could break down to you every facet of what's here today. Slavery was redesigned. It's never changed.
We definitely going to have you back here. So
it's never changed.
Yeah. So, I wanted the winos to really, to introduce you and your background and, let you explain a lot concerning, the beefs that are going on surrounding your brand and what you're trying to break through and teach. And so I definitely want to have you back here to discuss a lot of those dismantling the government and systems at play that do keep us as a people oppressed. And so do you have any books that you've written on, your thoughts and stuff? Because you are into spoken word. So I was wondering if you ever thought about writing a book.
I have. I actually got so many projects going on right now, but I have a person, I haven't gotten to it, that is going to help me write the book, because I'm not the one to sit down, but if I can tell you what I want to say and you can write it for me, that works.
I mean, they got you can get a ghostwriter on Fiverr.
Listen. Look, it ain't no shame in my game, because I'm trying to tell my folks how to make money. It's called a ghostwriter. Fiverr. That's the place. That's right. So I am working on that, and for me, I would like to write a book about my understanding of what I see. And then I would like to write a book about my life, because I've come from some really dark places, and I should be crazy. And maybe I am crazy. Some people say I am. I don't know. Might be a good thing, though. May take a little crazy to fight crazy, because racism is crazy to people who created it. So, but I would like to write a book on that. But I think that I've been through a lot in life, and I think that I found a lot, no matter what I do. My story and who I am seems to inspire people. Like every day, even though I talk about the Black empowerment, I get a lot of people who just say, you inspire me. It amazes me how many people have emailed me or just said, Mechee, I listened to you talk about not letting nothing stop you or being willing to fight, or even through your tears. My audience has watched me want to create things fail, watch people fight against me, all my setbacks, because I've done it all before them, tears and everything, and getting back up again and succeeding. And so a lot of them have said, if nothing else I've gotten from you, I picked myself up. When I realized that the power was in me to make my life different, I wanted to kill myself. Those are some of the most touching emails. I wanted to kill myself because I didn't have any hope. And when I listened to you, I realized I had never looked at myself as the answer. I was always looking for outside of me a prayer. Will God do this? Something do that. When I realized that if you could get up and do it, and the ability was in me, maybe I should just find the power within myself. And I picked myself up after listening to one of your videos. I don't have any idea it has that effect, but I have found that I have that individual effect on people probably more than anything else that I do. So I definitely want to write a story about me and where I come from. There's a lot of my story I haven't told, but I would love to do that and then give my perspective on what's happening in this country, because like I said, when I went into my room for 2 years under that depression, I turned off the TV. I no longer watch TV. So I don't watch TV at all. I selectively choose what I want to feed my brain. And so when I was in there in that depression, what I did is I was so fed up. I was like, how do we stop this, right? I'm so sick of the racism in this country. I just began to study the enemy. I didn't study the old movements because if we're still here, no disrespect to any of the old movements, what they didn't work because we still here. So I didn't want to study what didn't work. I studied the enemy because if you understand how we're fought, then that's when you can make a plan to counterattack. And it took me from everywhere, even to me letting go of my Christian beliefs because I realized where that came from. And so
what made you give up your Christian beliefs?
Well, in that study of the enemy.
You know, black folk.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to hear that shit.
I know they don't.
I want to hear that shit now.
I'm the devil at least 3 times a day on Facebook. Look, no. But
they said if you don't believe in him, you against him. That's what they say.
Right, but you know what? This is the thing is that as well as going to school for criminal justice, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. And so in understanding cognitive dissonance, and I was so desperate for an answer after they took my son away and after everything happened, like I just couldn't come out of that room until I had some kind of fight because I just felt like a week back, they just took your baby, they just murdered your brother, they just keep killing us, and I just, I didn't want to come out that room. I felt so helpless and powerless, and in studying all of that, I promised myself that wherever this road took me in studying, that I would not suffer from any cognitive dissonance. I was willing, I call it, to jump out into the abyss. I don't know really what's out there. All I know is where I've been, right? And all I know is that where I'm at, I'm not staying here. I don't know what's in front of me, but I can't stay here. So I'm going to just jump out into the abyss and find out what's on the other side. And so I promised myself that. And when I learned about Christianity and the plantation, how Jesus wasn't real, how this story was plagiarized from so many other tales that come from far back, thousands and thousands of years ago. And it was a plagiarized story, that the letter J didn't even exist at that time, even Paul and all of that stuff. You realize that it's a plagiarized book. And the white man took the book and they altered it so that you would use it. Because I want you to enslave you. Because what is the most powerful thing that somebody looks up to, that above themselves they give all honor and respect, and like even if it don't make no sense, they're going to go with that thing said? That's God, right? So if I can become your voice of God, but I'm really an enemy, how powerful does that make me over you? So when I look at all of the slave be good to thy slave master, right? All of the things in the Bible that said it's okay to tell you to wait a little while longer, to pray, to give it to God, to turn your other cheek when somebody slap you. I imagine when you was on a plantation, if you slapped me, I had no choice but to turn the other cheek and let you slap that one too, right? But when you realize that you could be murdered on the plantation for reading, why would they give you the Bible? The most powerful book that's going to set you free? That's going to give you a God that's going to free you from this? I don't think so. Right? And when you look at the plagiarism of it, when you look at where it came from, when you look at the history of how the Bible was used on the plantation, it was used as a weapon. How could that ever be good for you? I'm not serving a God that was given to me by my oppressor. I'm not doing that. And so people tend to mistake when I talk about spirituality, that means I don't believe in God. First of all, Jesus is not God, okay? And so even in the Bible, it doesn't state he is God. If anything, he is God wrapped up in flesh. Well, what am I? And so at the end of the day, I have.
So you do believe in God? You just don't believe in
the
Christian
way. Right. And so I believe in God, and I believe that there is a higher power. I tend to call spirits or God energy. Okay. Right? Same thing. Never died. Even we can all agree in our religions that your soul lives on because it's the energy that never dies, right? We all agree to that. And so at the end of the day, I would tell you that God is an energy. We know God is a spirit, an energy, not a person. So what I do, though, is I look to those energies, but I know that within me, just like Jesus, God wrapped up in flesh, that's who I am too. And I would tell you the moment I realized that in most religions, you're lazy because everything you do wrong, you get the blame on something outside of you. The devil made me do it. You take no accountability. And everything great that you need in life, you beg of something outside of you to make it happen. And when it doesn't happen, you tell yourself, I must not have deserved it. No. See, I take accountability. That's called shadow work. Anything that ain't working for me in life, I ask myself, what part do I play to hold me back? And I've grown so much more doing that. And whenever I go out of my way to get something done in life, I am grateful and I ask for the assistance of the higher energy and God, right? The universe to help me do those things. And they do assist me, but the responsibility is on me. See, God is much happier when I act like the child of God that I am. That's like looking at Kanye's kids and they on the corner begging for $2. Are you Kanye's child or are you not Kanye's child? How am I the essence of a creator? Give God another name. God is a creator of all things. So wouldn't that make me a creator too? And if nothing else, if you can't go create the life you want, then maybe you're looking at this all wrong. So I take accountability and I put the onus on me. And if it don't work, it's because I need to go back and do something that I didn't do right. But it don't mean it ain't meant for me. It just means I need to revamp the way that I did it. And so I live in believing that my life is my responsibility and that God is there to assist me. And I also honor my ancestors. I try and get Black people to understand that because it helps you when people pass away. If you believe that spirits never die, why we believe they go sit on a cloud? Why your mama not right there with you? Why ain't your auntie rubbing your back? If you would give into it a little bit, you might even be able to feel them and hear them and commune with it. So that is something that comes from far beyond. And we can say African spirituality, but the truth is all life began in Africa. So when you just go back to the beginning of where it started, there's always been a thing about communing and honoring all spirits. When you listen to Christianity and Christianity tells you just focus on Jesus and just focus on God. You know how limited you are when there are so many other energies and spirits in this universe that are looking to help you, that are on your side, that want to commune with you too. So that's just crazy for people to say that. And I even give people the example of how the book was plagiarized. When people go to church and they call on Jesus and they catch the Holy Ghost, is that not possession?
Let me go ahead and possess myself with this wine.
It's a possession. It is, right? Because you let this spirit take over your body and you say that you have no control. Yes. And start talking in the talking in them tongues. And so I'm saying, and so when we talk about that, then why do we look at when we see things like voodoo, hoodoo, and understand that those are versions of religion too, but it goes back to your Reuben ways or Ifa. And if you take it from there, people have branched off and done other things, you know. But at the end of the day, you can find things that are similar. If a person says they're having a voodoo ritual and they're calling on a spirit, but it's not Jesus. Let's say we get ready to fight, like in the Haitian Revolution. They call on Ogun. Ogun is the energy of, not like Jesus forgiving and waiting a little while longer. Ogun is the spirit of war. Weaponry. So why wouldn't you call on the different energies that you need at the certain times you need them? But if you do that, you're the devil. But y'all could jump around in church and become possessed, because that's the real word. And people kill me with rituals. Do we not know that communion is a ritual? You're pretending to eat body and blood. It's also a cannibalistic ritual, which is not something that we practice. That actually comes from something they've added in there. But communion is a ritual. It is. It's a cannibalistic ritual. You're eating the body and the blood, or a representation of.
And you saying all of this, it's quite... It's deep because you were a first lady. Yeah. You were married to a preacher.
I was a preacher.
You was a preacher too.
Yep.
That's a lot.
But I told myself in that journey, I told you, I was letting go of anything that didn't sit right. Because unlike in religion, they'll tell you that you're supposed to believe before you see. I tell you that the Creator leaves behind evidence for everything. And when we talk about spirituality, there's actually scientific evidence to prove all the things we believe in. I don't believe in that. A Creator created everything, but He leave behind no evidence. Just like, when have you ever seen anything be born from a bone? Go on, next time you eat a piece of chicken, go and take that bone, put it in some soil in your little windowsill, like them little kindergarten projects when you do that. Go ahead and do that and see if anything. But somehow we have watched the creation, all kind of animals, human beings, that the female gives birth to the offspring of whatever that creation is, right?
I tell everybody, woman is God.
Right, but they
don't want to hear that
shit. God created us. We got created from a bone. That doesn't even make any sense. Yes. Everything that God has created, the evidence is in the creation. Just look around you. It is scientific evidence to prove that God is real. People got to stop saying, well, this is not real. You can't prove that stuff in the Bible because it's just made up fables and stories in a plagiarized book that they took from so many other people.
Mechee motherfucking X. That's going to be my new name for you. Listen, I love this introduction. I am definitely going to have you back to discuss a lot of this fuckery that's going on. I haven't quite found anyone to dialogue or to offer dialogue in the manner and such as you have. And so I'm inspired. I really am. And it's not coming from a place of hate. or malice. It's coming from a place of truth. Like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Some
people think I'm angry a lot, and sometimes I am. I am.
Well, I mean, don't we all get angry?
What did Baldwin say? Baldwin says to be conscious is to be in a constant state of rage. To really know what's going on, it's hard for me not to be angry. Yeah. When I turn on the TV and I see how they lie to us about things, with what just recently happened in the pandemic, like
You said the pandemic.
I just know more than I care to know, and so it ruins things for me. Like, I can't watch TV because then the subliminals start hitting, and I'm like, oh, Lord, there they go, pumping that into our head or our kid's head, then I want to turn the TV off. And so the simple things in life that I understand ignorance is bliss, because when we don't understand these things, we can enjoy the normal things in life. For me, I'm angry a lot because as I walk around, I see the truth, and it's hard for me to unsee what I've seen or know what I know. So I do walk around angry a lot, but I do want people to know that my passion is for my people. I'm a very loving person, and I'll give my last, for the right reason. And so I am angry, and I do have a passion. Sometimes my passion is misconstrued as anger, because all the time it's not anger. Sometimes it's passion, but sometimes it is anger.
I see it more so as passion.
Yeah, sometimes it's anger when I see but it's more passion than anything. And so, for me, a lot of stuff happens in this world. Kids die every day. Sad tragedies happen. Wars go on. And the truth is that I can't stop and be sad about everything that goes on in life. So I've chosen to reserve my tears, my fight, my anger, my compassion for my people. And sometimes it comes across in me cussing Black folks out too. But sometimes we're so far gone, and we're part of the problem, and we get in the way of stuff. And so if you're doing that too, I'm gonna check you just the same as anybody else, because you don't get a pass just because you're Black, when you're not doing right. But my ultimate goal and the root of what I do, whether I'm checking a Black person or whether I'm checking white supremacy, is out of the love for my people. That's where all of the root of it comes from.
Where can my viewers find you or anybody watching?
Well, you can find me at Mechee X on YouTube.
Now spell it, because it is spelled different.
It's Mechee. Two E's on the end. Mechee.
Okay.
And you can find me on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm not on YouTube as much, but I'm over there. You can also find my network, MX Network TV, on you can go to the website, mxnetworktv.com. But we're on Roku. If you sign up for it, we're on Roku. You can go to Fire TV, Prime TV, Apple TV. We're in the Android and iPhone store. So we're building our network. And something that I have really tried to focus on for me is that I know that media is a weapon. And so I think, like I said, once you understand the weapons, you make a plan to counterattack. So, in our network, we do independent artists. So if you have to be Black, but if you are a Black producer, you have music, any ideas, like we're not Dr. Watkins, we believe in paying our people, and we just want this network to represent us the right way. So if you are an independent artist and you come over there and check out, don't be sending me no twerking and no drug dealing in your video, because we're not projecting that. I think they project enough of that of us. So I think there's so much more brilliance in our community. That's not what we have to show all the time, So they can find me in those places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a lot. She gonna have me go pulling shit and read like, wait a minute.
Look.
He said.
That's what people do all the time. Look. I went looked up after that video.
It's like sitting up and just watching someone just, like a Malcolm X, like any of our leaders that really died just for us to be mentally free. And so I just want to thank you for even trusting me, trusting the platform. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely want to have you back here a lot.
Okay, that's fine. But thank you for having me.
Anytime.
I appreciate this. I really do. I've watched you off and on over the years, and I had to say something. That was that cognitive dissonance video. I was like, they're all upset. Wait a minute. Last week, didn't y'all just say y'all ain't like this?
Yeah.
What's wrong with y'all? So,
social media is very bipolar.
But everything that I said in that video was the truth. And too oftentimes we're caught up in our bias. We can't see the truth because of our bias. They wanted to feel some type of way, but everything I said was the truth.
That's why I don't worry about it. Listen. But anyway, thank you so much. It was such an honor just to even hear you speak. And like I said, I just wanted this to just be an introduction. In case people did go and search you, they probably would find a lot of the beefs and stuff like that. But there's so much more to you, and I do want that explored here whenever you can grace us with your time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And energy to just come and drop, just the word on us.
Yeah.
And so thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. To allow me to share my
voice.
So.
Thank you. I would do cheers, but you
I
done
know.
knocked
I done drank
that Casamigos down. Listen. Listen, you done knocked that Casamigos down. There we go. All right, now we gotta go. Just say bye. Thank you. That was nice. I'm just sitting here like,